The 2025 WNBA Draft is complete, and we now know the talent each team has added. What we don't know is how well each player will fit in their respective systems or chemistry with their new teammates. For the Dallas Wings, they obviously drafted Paige first. That was the smartest and safest bet for the team, but then they drafted a lot of depth at the guard position, so it will be interesting to see this team play. The Wings have been completely rehauled over the offseason. Right now, they have Tiara McGowan at center, a very strong center, but really they're only one. They got really strong at the forward position. Carrington is great defensively and can play the guard-forward combo. Nyla Smith will probably have a great start on a new team and can play the forward-center combo. Hines Allen is a very talented forward that can play the 3 or the 4. I like the JJ Quinterly pick for the future, but I can't wait to see the game plan because it looks like small ball, like they're going to try and run you out of the gym. I think this team will be very fun to watch this year, even before they got Paige. The combination of Bueckers and Wale is going to be amazing, and then having Smith and McGowan in your front court is going to be a powerhouse, and then being able to swap out those forwards between Carrington, Hines Allen. I really do think this is a tough squad, again, even before they got Bueckers. So I think they did a really good job in the offseason, knowing they had the number 1 pick, knowing it was probably going to be Paige Bueckers. So the Wings had a great offseason. I love the Storm's pick. Dominique Malonga is probably my favorite pick in the entire draft just because of her ceiling, playing the same position as A'ja Wilson plays. The Storm have the most important job of letting her develop the right way, but they did a lot of retooling over the offseason as well. I like the vets on this team, the mentality from Skylar Diggins-Smith, and the leadership from Nneka Ogwumike. I know Malonga and Gabby Williams will have a nice connection there, so this is exciting for the team overall. After a few testy years, you can tell they're trying to build and keep the culture together. Picking up Erica Wheeler and Alicia Clark, very solid role players with Lexi Brown and Katie Lou Samuelson. There are only 12 roster spots, so they will trim a lot of fat, to be honest. Their third rounders may not see the floor at all, so they'll make a lot of decisions in training camp as far as who's coming off the bench and who really adds to that depth. But overall, they already had their starting lineup and most of their backups decided. After signing Gabby and Nneka in the offseason, the Storm kind of did a half rebuild. They have some very solid vets, but they're definitely investing in their young players. You can tell the Mystics are completely rebuilding because they drafted at almost every position. I like their 3rd and 4th picks, creating a possible duo for the future. Sonia is a nice guard. I really like Kiki Irfin. So after losing Elena Delle Donne, EDD, to retirement, it was definitely important to look to the future. They still have Stephanie Dolson, Aaliyah Edwards, Brittany Sykes, Shakira Austin. These players got a lot of runtime and unrivaled over the offseason. So if nothing else, they gained some fans for the team. We won't see too much of a change with their roster. They have 12 on the roster right now. We may see a couple of changes after training camp, some cuts and signings from undrafted players or what have you, but it will probably be another tough year for the Mystics. Playing their cards right could have them back in the lottery with the possibility of a number 1 or number 2 pick, so they can develop that pick for the future, especially looking towards the next expansion draft and change to the CBA. This could be one of those teams that's completely shaken up afterwards. The Valkyries somehow pulled a very Golden State move and drafted for now and the future, taking a big swing with Cheyenne Sellers. We've seen this work in the past, draft a super talented player that may have some health issues, but if they let her get healthy, it could really pan out in the future. Their number 5 pick should get some time this year, but their forward position is full of vets. Monique Billings, Letitia Amahir, Kayla Thornton, who will probably start after that championship run with the Liberty. This is another team that will cut around 5 players, so the roster we see will be the same, but again, a 3rd round pick. They may not see the floor after training camp. Their team was pretty much set after signing Tiffany Hayes. You may see some surprises, but this team definitely understands how much can change over the next 2 years, so their first 2 picks will probably last past the next expansion draft and the CBA change. So their 1st and 2nd round picks are probably meant to last past the expansion draft and the CBA change. The Sun picked up the very talented Anisha Morrow, which I actually really like. They paired her with Sanya Rivers and Raya Marshall. This looks very calculated to me, and I really don't want to like it because I love the last Sun squad and I don't recognize my team now. Morrow and Rivers are a good idea to go into the future and take a swing on the center forward and Marshall. Like, if everything really panned out and they hit their ceiling, develop together the right way, you could see a big three in the future. The Sun are trying to play chess, and on some level I do hope it works out because they have a lot to figure out money-wise with the changes ahead and possibly moving or selling the team, so a buyer or new city wouldn't necessarily be mad at the potential that they're trying to build here. The Los Angeles Sparks drafted Sarah Barker at number 9, which should be a good pairing with Kelsey Plum and a nice role player in Fegan. They are kind of loaded at the forward position with Azurá Stevens, Dearica Hamby, Rakia Jackson, and Cameron Brink. So this is another team where I'm more interested to see who actually goes into the season signed and knowing their role. The Sparks actually have a pretty solid roster, so again, the third rounder probably won't see the floor. Depending on how Barker does in training camp will determine how much they invest in her development. Segan will probably be good just because of the shakeup next year, so playing her position will keep her in a Sparks jersey or at least in the WNBA period. Now the Sky are the most interesting to me, not really bad, not really outstanding, but interesting. A lot of people aren't high on the Hailey Van Lith pick, but I really like it. I'm surprised she was still available. Not only does she have the connection with Angel Reese, but she's a winner at almost every level there, and they really need that mindset in Chicago. Not necessarily too great for the players, considering they have one of the least invested in practice and training facilities, but I kind of like it. Already having Reese, their number 10 pick, might get some development time. Again, it's interesting to me because the team itself has a starting forward and a backup. This is another team where training camp cuts may be surprising depending on who makes it there. Players are quite literally still trying out for the spots they were picked for. I think Koulibaly has a good shot of making it, but with a new coach and not signing Carter, we'll have to see what the Sky are really up to behind the scenes. The Aces picked up Aaliyah Nye and Harmony Turner. Turner would have to be pretty awesome in training camp to stay. Nye may have a better shot, but developmentally, they're looking at Kitley after she sat out with an injury last year, especially protecting her in the expansion draft. They have to see a lot of potential. So if Nye or Turner do make the team, that means Vegas is cutting the likes of Bradford, Bell, or Teneke. They really already have their roster figured out with the big three in Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, and Jewel Lloyd. So again, it's more like invitations to try out at this point, and if they see something, they'll keep you. Moving on to the Dream, Paopao should get a great chance to develop, especially with her notoriety, as long as she doesn't flame out in camp, which I really don't see that happening. It seems like a good fit for the team and the player. She should see the floor, especially being a backup for Canada. They might even run together, but the Dream altered their identity over the offseason, adding Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones. We did get to see Jordan Canada, Ryan Howard, and Alicia Gray playing Unrivaled over the offseason as well. Canada and Howard got to play together. I think they make a leap this year behind Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray. They have some chemistry to work out with new bigs, but they can make a decent run. And really only having to make 1 or 2 cuts before the start of the season, they have a little more time to see how the team flows in camp before we see the final product at the start of the season. The Fever are another team that pretty much decided what they would look like before the draft, retooling around Caitlin Clark. They brought in champions like Dewana Bonner and Sydney Colson, gave the team some depth with Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull. They have solid starters in Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard. So these picks again are trying out, and if somehow they're amazing, they'll get a shot at the end of the bench. They only need 2 or 3 cuts, so they have a better chance, but their 3rd round pick could get lucky just in filling that big center position. They had a good setup before the draft, already thinking championship, so really hit or miss, they'll still be good regardless. The Lynx and the Liberty made it to the finals last year, so they got pretty late picks. They may not even make the rosters, but get some type of chance in training camp. The Liberty did their changes in the offseason, adding Natasha Cloud to their championship team. They'll be making a ton of cuts before the start of the season just to see if there's any room for improvement with who they have in front of them. The Lynx didn't make a lot of heavy hitting changes. They really kept the team together with some re-signings, so they don't seem to be too different from last year. Even with cuts, they'll look pretty much the same. I have an overall mid feeling about the drafts overall, especially in the W. A lot of the players get drafted and never see the floor, and the WNBA makes so many changes right before the season starts and right before the middle of the season. So at least right now, we have to see who makes it through training camp and what the rosters actually look like when the season starts.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.